Come on now. So Auburn's a funny team, and I'll be 100% honest with you. My minimum and maximum with this team is going to be probably one of my biggest. I know for you it was like Oklahoma. For me, it's Auburn because I don't know. Like, I feel like the vibe at Auburn is okay, but like nothing in the offseason as far as like the future of this
Goes
team looks.
with that.
Yeah. Like, they picked up good pieces early last year for this year, but they've not picked up good pieces this year for next year. But we're not talking about next year. We're talking about this year. And I think Auburn's going to be okay for this year. I think. But like, man, they've lost so many recruits. I think right now they're ranked like 80th. They're last in the SEC in recruiting. They're getting beat by like so many group of 5 schools in the recruiting trail right now, which is not what you want to see as an Auburn fan or head coach. So like, I am very interested to see how this season goes, and I do think they were supposed to improve. But who knows? Maybe Hugh Freeze is checked out and ready to get that buyout money. I don't know, but that's what we're here. That's what we're going to talk about. And they don't start off with an easy one, man.
So before we get into this, I do want to apologize for whenever we did the Oklahoma one. I did mess up the last game of the schedule. Not that it affects my prediction any, but they actually play LSU in the last game of the season. I had them playing against Arkansas.
Yeah, you did. That actually changes mine a little bit, but it's fine.
Yeah. So
I do
want to shout out. So I guess the previous schedule I did was I don't even remember who it was, but it was Arkansas was the last.
And you just
game.
forgot to. Yeah, I got you.
I forgot to change it. So I do want to apologize for that. Shout out to the commenter on YouTube. Don't remember his name. The commented on there. I did mess that up. I will admit to that. But as far as the rest of your comments, I stand by what I said through the entire thing. So y'all can check that video and look at the comment on there to see what I'm talking about. But anyway, Auburn.
You said I admit to that, but F y'all, I still stand by what I said.
Absolutely. Hey, if I didn't stand by what I said, I wouldn't come on here every week and
that's fair. No, as you should. But like, let's talk about some key pieces for Auburn, man. Who is their quarterback going into this year? Right, it's the Oklahoma transfer. I think Arnold, right? Jackson Arnold.
Arnold, man.
He shouldn't be competing for that job. He better have that job. I don't know why you'd make a move like that and not have that job. So we're going to assume Jackson Arnold there. Now, they still have one, in my opinion, one of the better running backs in the SEC, right? Maybe. I can't. I'm blanking on the name there, but
it's not Robert Woodyard Jr., is it?
I don't think so. But he was kind of a baller last year. It's kind of like one of the steady pieces of the offense. I know they have a really good wide receiver core that, yes, I think was picked up a lot by the transfer portal. Defense was definitely something that left to be desired last year. But you look at their schedule, they don't start easy. They got Baylor. They've got to go to Texas A&M. They've got Georgia. They've got Alabama, as always. They've got at Arkansas. And, I hate to say this, but I'm going to give them their kudos. They got to go at Vanderbilt, which should be a home game for Auburn. But, Vanderbilt's a better team now. So, who knows?
I actually messed up the running back there. That Robert Woodard Jr. is a linebacker, but there's several running backs on this roster. You got senior Damari Austin from last year. You've got, going down the list here.
Sean, while you're doing that, says 2 toss-up games I can see here, in my opinion, is Oklahoma and Missouri games. And I think I agree with that. And I would even throw in a 3rd toss-up game in Texas A&M.
Yeah, that's very possible.
It's just you don't look at it like that because they're on the road at Texas A&M. And you do have higher expectations for A&M based on what they did last year. But I do think A&M could also be a toss-up game for Auburn if Auburn's going to achieve to the expectation that I think they should achieve at this year.
And here's why, I've been saying all offseason I'm high on Auburn now. That's also before some of the other offseason stuff that I've heard from Hugh Freeze, from their recruiting class, this, that, and the other. But the reason I've been high on Auburn is because, you did pick up Jackson Arnold, who I think is a comparable quarterback that honestly just did not get his due diligence at Oklahoma. But then you look at the wide receiver room that was talented last year, but didn't have a quarterback that could get the ball to them in a decent way. I love Cam Coleman at wide receiver. He is a talented. He's going to be a
I was thinking of
sophomore
Cam.
this year.
I was thinking of Cam Coleman,
Uh,
and I don't know why I thought he was running back. I'm so sorry.
yeah, but Cam Coleman, a talented, very talented sophomore this year. He was good last year as a freshman. Just I feel like wasn't recognized enough because he didn't get the ball enough from his quarterback. You also picked up a transfer from Georgia Tech, Eric Singleton Jr. at wide receiver. You've got sophomore Perry Thompson is another one on the list here. You've got some very good Horatio Fields, a senior wide receiver from Wake Forest. You've got some good wide receivers on this roster. I would even say borderline great wide receivers if given the chance. So I like the fact that they picked up Jackson Arnold, somebody that I think
And here,
can be that guy at quarterback that Hugh Freeze is looking for. But will he is the question.
well, here's my concern. You've seen him at Oklahoma with a terrible offensive line, and how did that go for him? So, him going to Auburn, did his offensive line really improve?
That's a great question. But here's what I'll also say to counter that right there. He wasn't great with a bad offensive line at Oklahoma, but did the coaching staff really give him the chance to see what he could do later on down the year?
Well, and they humiliated him because he struggled against the best defense. Well, one of the better defenses in the country. I mean, I would say easily top 10 defense in Tennessee,
Yeah.
and pretty much got benched immediately. And I think that was wrong. I said that the moment that game was over with, is I think that the coaching staff did that kid wrong. I mean,
And it was proven in the next game when forget the kid's name, but the one that started after
Hawkins.
him, yeah, Hawkins. In his next game, he came out and threw what was it, 5 interceptions? I know for sure it was 3, and they
Yeah,
brought Jackson Arnold back into the game.
it was a lot. It was a lot. Sean says I'm waiting to put A&M there until after the Notre Dame game, but also some crazy crap happens in College Station. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's true. But no, with all that being said, Hugh Freeze, I've said it over and over. This is the year. If he doesn't make a vast improvement with all the moves that he's made this offseason, dude's collecting that buyout check and getting out of there. His seat's probably one of the warmer seats in the SEC. So I'm expecting things to be good or at least better for Auburn. But who knows? Michael, I'll go ahead and start it off, man.
Yep.
They're at Baylor game 1. And I'll be honest with you. I don't think they get it done. I think they drop game 1 at Baylor. Baylor's a solid team. That's not a cupcake game, and they're going to Baylor to start the year. I think their head coach is one of the better coaches. They are still in the Big 12, right? Even with all the movement. So, no, I'm gonna give Baylor some skin there. But I think Auburn's a team that should get better as the season goes, even though they're playing a little bit tougher competition as the season goes. But Ball State, I do think is a win. Southern Alabama's a win at Oklahoma, dude. This is what a game this would be. What a game this would be. I think Auburn's got a chance. I know Jackson Arnold would love to win. But I don't think it's in the cards. I think if Oklahoma lost to Auburn at home, Brent Venables would be out the door. So I'm going to give the L to Auburn, and that is me following my picks. I'm going to try my best to do that because I don't want to say that I have, let's say in this situation, I had Oklahoma losing, but in the other prediction, I had Oklahoma winning. Like, I don't want to mix it up because then that makes no sense. So in this situation, I had Oklahoma losing. I'm going to keep that. I had Oklahoma winning. I'm going to keep it that way. Auburn losing and dropping this game at A&M. At A&M's no slouch. There's a lot of question marks to A&M's quarterback, who is a star in one night, and then has some maturing to do in the next night. He is going into the next season as the guy. But have you realized how many quarterbacks A&M has had that are actually decent quarterbacks, but for some reason, some way, they don't stick around? You realize how many starting quarterbacks this year are playing elsewhere that came from A&M is alarming. Like Max Johnson, Zach Calzada, Haynes King. I think there's one or two more that I'm missing, but like they all started their career at A&M, or at least had been to A&M at some point in their career, and for some reason couldn't get it worked out. So now A&M is relying on I would say a true sophomore or a redshirt freshman, but I think it's a true sophomore quarterback. And I'm gonna give Auburn the benefit of the doubt. I think they beat A&M to really help Hugh Freeze out to flip this season a little bit, to kind of give a little bit of more lust into that Georgia game. But I don't think it really helps them against Georgia. I think they do drop that game. And then Auburn versus Missouri is a really good game. I do think that Auburn drops this one as well. Missouri should beat Auburn, in my opinion. At Arkansas, I think, yes, I have a win for Auburn against Arkansas at Arkansas. So doing good on the road for the most part, except for the first month of the year. Kentucky is definitely a win. Kentucky's garbage. Vanderbilt at Vanderbilt. What do we think, Diego Magic?
Maybe. They had the
Nah, I
matches last
got
year in
Auburn.
Auburn.
Nah, I got Auburn winning that one. Mercer is a win. And then out of Alabama, I mean, obviously, I got to give them a loss. But overall, 7-5 year. And I think that's enough, I think, for Hugh Freeze to keep his job when you think about it. But a swing game for sure is Baylor. I mean, this could be an 8-4 year if they can start out with a win at Baylor. Who knows? Maybe they can still win at Oklahoma. I think that would be such a cool story for Jackson Arnold too. So I'm gonna go my ceiling with this team. I'm gonna say is 9-3 because let's just say they do beat Baylor and Oklahoma. I do think those are two games they can get. Now that's obviously I think that's everything going right for this team is 9-3. I'm gonna say the floor though is they lose to A&M. They lose to Vanderbilt. And I'm going to go ahead and say it. Maybe they lose to Arkansas. So I've got their floor being, what is that? 4-8. So their floor for me is 4-8. Their ceiling is 9-3. And I understand that's a wide gap, but I think that's right because you don't even know. I mean, if they lose to Baylor, Oklahoma, and A&M, Georgia, Missouri, that would have them starting 2-5.
Yeah.
Is Hugh Freeze gone? The buyout in that team would, I mean, or not the buyout, but the buy-in on that team has to be out the window at that point. And so, like, they would probably at that point only get up for the Alabama game at the end of the year and give Alabama a run for the money just because. But they could be like a 3-8 team going into that game and try to make a run for it against Alabama. But I don't know. I could see this being a big swing year for Auburn. Obviously, for their fans, they're going to want it to be for the better. But I think for me, I'm gonna give them some credit against A&M and Arkansas, Vanderbilt, whatever. I think those are teams they should beat. If you're a fan, you expect to beat. But at Baylor to start the year is going to be tough, and then at Oklahoma is just going to be a storyline game. That to me, Oklahoma is such a coin flip. I'm not really sure how that's going to go. I just kind of went with my gut on that, and we'll see how that goes. I think I just gave it to the home team in that game. So yeah, Auburn I got 7-5, floor 4-8, and ceiling 9-3. Michael, what say you, big dog? Let me go through and actually do you a favor here and take off all my.
All right. I was actually just going through making sure that I wasn't doubling up on anybody as well. So yeah, I've said all off season that I am high on Auburn, and I
Now you're retracting
still
it. No, I'm
well,
joking.
so I still feel decent about Auburn, at least the way that the schedule should go. But we'll see if the way that it should go actually goes with what's going to happen this season. So starting off against Baylor, I don't really know what Baylor's got this year. I feel like I know what Auburn has got, but that road trip to Baylor is never easy. I'm going to go with a loss to Baylor
Oh, me and you
to
both
start
feeling
the
the same
season.
way, huh?
And this is one of those games that has flipped in my mind over the last couple of weeks. Just hearing what's coming out of that program right now. I had this game as a win as of just 2 weeks ago. But with some of the things that I have heard from media days, from other sources in and out of Auburn there, I don't feel as good about it now. So I've got a loss to Auburn or a loss to Baylor in week 1. Ball State in week 2, they're going to get a win in that one. Same thing against South Alabama. That's going to be a win. At Oklahoma in week 4, Jackson Arnold's return to Oklahoma Memorial Stadium. I've got Auburn going in and getting a win against Oklahoma. It's not going to be easy at all. It's never easy to win at Oklahoma. But I think Jackson Arnold is going to have something to play for in that game. And I think he's going to have the game of his life against his former team. And they're going to come out of Oklahoma with a win in that game. Texas A&M on September the 27th. I've got A&M winning that game. A&M is one of those teams that they're going to be tough this year. I like what I saw last year from Marcel Reed. I think he's going to take a step forward this year as well. Texas A&M has a chance to be a dark horse contender for the SEC this year and the college football playoffs. So I've got Texas A&M winning that game. Georgia, Auburn does get that one at home, and just kind of like the Iron Bowl, strange things happen in this game whenever you play at Auburn. But in this game, I do think that Georgia pulls out a close win, but we'll see what ends up happening when that game comes around. Auburn does have a bye week before that game. And Georgia, see, that's on October 11th. Georgia, the week before, has Kentucky, and the week before that has Alabama. So
I could see it. I mean, Auburn.
I could see it, yes.
I don't think Georgia's the powerhouse, man. I don't think they are.
Yeah.
Mostly because half their starting defense is getting arrested left and right. But I mean, really, I don't know if I'm a believer in Gunnar Stockton. I know Kirby is.
I'm not either.
I know Kirby is, and I gotta trust what Kirby believes. I mean, dude, that he's one of the best coach. He is the best coach right now, active. So if he trusts him, I gotta think that he's gonna be good. But I just don't think he's gonna be elite in any way. And I'm sorry, but I know you can kind of say, well, Stetson Bennett. Well, I think Stetson Bennett was good. Like, I don't care what he was or what he was thought of when he went there. Stetson Bennett on the field was a dang good player. And so, I mean, there's a reason why he was a back-to-back champion or 2 of the 3 years. I think he was back-to-back. So
yeah, Stetson Bennett was back-to-back.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. That's just my thoughts. I'm sorry. This is your pick, not me.
Yeah. So, Missouri on October the 18th. I kind of put the reason why I suggested to Skylar we do Auburn and Missouri, this week. I've got them kind of on the same wavelength overall.
But Missouri shouldn't be. If you look at the
shouldn't be, absolutely not.
Yeah, but drinks is terrible. So yeah, I got you.
And I think that the home field is going to play a bigger factor in this game than anything else, which is why I give the win to Auburn in this game. October the 25th at Arkansas. This is one of those games that, as of last week, I swapped. I had a win for Auburn against Arkansas in this game. And last week I came on and I said, Arkansas is going to beat Auburn. And I'm going to stick with that. I think that Hugh Freeze and Auburn travel to Arkansas and they pick up a loss in this game. Rounding out the end of the schedule here, you do have a couple of easier games and then the Iron Bowl to finish off. You get a win against Kentucky at home. I think you travel to Nashville and you get a win against Vanderbilt. Pavia Magic is not going to be there. Auburn will get a win in that game. Mercer, the tune-up for the Iron Bowl, you get a win there. So right now, going into the Iron Bowl, you were sitting at, 7-4 at this point? And what was your hot take back earlier? That Auburn will win the Iron Bowl this year?
And then I didn't follow up on that. Yeah, I did say that. I mean...
And you know what? I said I didn't feel like it was that much of a hot take because I think that it could absolutely happen. And this game is in Auburn.
I mean, I see it. I don't know. I think in the pick segment, I was just so fixated on, I'm giving Alabama that win. But yeah, I mean, I stand by it. So I guess maybe I need to change my prediction. But yeah, I mean, I did say that my hot take of the year, it was one of my top 5, right? And I said that Auburn's going to win the Iron Bowl.
But we also did say that, it was something we didn't necessarily have to agree with. It was just a hot take.
But I will say this, standing here right now, like again, it's kind of like the Georgia game. I think Auburn's got the talent on the roster this year to do it. And I don't necessarily know who Alabama's quarterback's going to be. So like, who knows?
Yeah, and the game, it is in Auburn. Strange things always happen there.
Well, I was
Auburn,
just about to say it doesn't
yeah,
even have to make sense on paper, right?
yeah.
Like
Alabama does not play well at Auburn. I mean, what was it? The
4th and
23.
29 or something, 4th
I
and
was gonna say, what
30.
was it? The 23 season, whenever Auburn nearly won, and then Jalen Milroe throws the 4th and 29, 21, whatever it was, to the back corner of the end zone to end up winning it.
That was stupid because that secured their spot in the playoff. That was so dumb. That was so dumb. What a play.
But I can't sit here today and say that Auburn is going to win that game.
No,
I can't. So I also have Auburn going 7-5. This
dude, we did it again. 7-5,
we
7-5, just different ways. Okay.
yeah, we did. So 7-5. I'm gonna go with my floor first because unfortunately, I think that the floor could hit this season. But if it does, Hugh Freeze has got to be gone.
I mean, I think that is very possible.
So I think that you could lose that game to Oklahoma. That is
Yes.
without a doubt a toss-up game.
Yeah,
That
100%.
So I think you could lose to Oklahoma. You could lose to Missouri. Like I said,
agree.
I've got them on the same wavelength there. I gave the home field advantage to Auburn in that one. So you could lose to Missouri. I think you could lose to Vanderbilt. I think you beat Kentucky no matter how bad you are.
Yeah, Kentucky's garbage.
Yeah. So
If I can find a reason to say that on this podcast, I just want y'all to know that if I can say Kentucky's garbage, I will take every advantage to say that.
yeah, absolutely. So
In fact, if y'all didn't know, Kentucky's garbage. Sorry. Go ahead.
So I've got the floor for Auburn this year at 4-8, and that's everything has got to go wrong for that to happen. But that definitely could happen. As far as the ceiling, if Auburn does what I at one time thought that they could, I think they can beat Baylor. I'm going to keep Texas A&M as a guaranteed loss. With that game being in College Station, I don't see them going into College Station and getting a win there. But I think because of the rivalry and because of where the game is played, you could beat Georgia.
Georgia.
You could definitely beat Arkansas. And I think that you've got the talent. You could beat Alabama.
Ooh, ceiling 10-2 with the loss to no. Wait,
No,
what? You
I've
think
got
11-1?
I've got the absolute ceiling, but everything has to go right. And that's what I base my floor and ceiling off of. Everything has to go wrong and everything has to go right for the floor and the ceiling. If everything goes right, I think Auburn could go 11-1 this year.
They ain't got a roster going 11-1. But I
I
applaud
agree.
I applaud your optimism.
Yeah, like I said, literally every single thing has got to go right. And I really don't think that can happen. No. I don't think that it can, but you know what? We see
but you also don't want to say their ceiling's 9-3. They do go 11-1, and you're like, wow, I don't know. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah,
I understand.
But I mean, strange things happen when you're playing at Jordan-Hare Stadium. I mean, you got the prayer at O'Hare that one year against Georgia. You got the kick six against Alabama, and it seems like every single year there's some sort of magic moment that happens whenever you play at Jordan-Hare Stadium. And everything went right that season. Whenever all that stuff happened, is that going to happen this year? I highly doubt it. But it could.
He's going to need it.
It definitely could. I'm leaning more towards the, if not 7-5, more like 6-6 type season once again from Hugh Freeze. I was saying at one point that I think 8-4 is more likely than 6-6. Now I'm leaning more towards 6-6 is more likely than 8-4 for this coming season for Auburn.
It really just depends on how they look against Baylor, man. I think their season, I think a swing game, and I hate to say that it's the first game of the year, but I think their swing game is Baylor. If they come out and beat Baylor to start the year, they're poised to go 8-4, 9-3. But if they don't start out with a win against Baylor, I think it could be in for a grinding type season where they really got to get to bowl eligibility or 7-5 or whatnot. So
if we take the Baylor game off the swing game radar there, what is your swing game? I've got a clear swing game.
If it's not Baylor, it's Oklahoma.
Yes, that's the answer.
Yeah, if it's not Baylor, it's Oklahoma. It's early in the year because you're kind of, and the reason why I have it so early for Auburn is because there's so many unknowns with this team and how they're going to click. So you got to figure out in that first month of games, like how are they going to play together and gel well together? And if they can win against Baylor and Oklahoma, then I do think this is a good team. They might still have 3 or 4 losses just because of their schedule. I mean, you got 8 at A&M, Georgia, Alabama. That could be 3 losses even with a good team. And then, but like I said, if you get that win against Baylor and Oklahoma, I mean, 9-3 is very possible. Very possible. Just got to beat the teams at that point. And if you beat Baylor and Oklahoma, then I have at most confidence you're going to beat Missouri, Arkansas, Vanderbilt, Kentucky. Like, that's not even a question at that point. So,
and that's the thing that I was getting at. I feel like that if you beat Oklahoma, you're going to beat Missouri. If you lose to Oklahoma, I'm almost going to chalk that Missouri game up as a loss too. I know it's at 2 different points in the schedule.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's the way that things might go this year.
But
if you
here's
lose
why
to
it's hard
Oklahoma,
for me
you'll
to
lose to Missouri.
Yeah, here's why it's hard for me to like guarantee, like, if you beat this team, you must beat this team, because we look back at, and I get it, maybe it's just Tennessee guy in me, but like you look back last year and it's like we beat Alabama, lost to Arkansas. So it's kind of hard to like say because team X beat team Y doesn't necessarily mean that X beats Z. I don't know. It's just we'll see. That's